Hello, everybody. Welcome. It is Wednesday. Here we are over on the WeCrochet channel, YouTube channel, Facebook Live, all the places. It is so great to see you here. Maybe you caught me a little bit ago on Instagram Live. Quick one on there. We hit 125 followers. Not 125, 125,000 followers on Instagram. So we have a giveaway going on. So you want to go check that out. If you're not already following us, go check that out. Follow us, or if you are following, even better. But it is so great to see everybody. I've already seen people come in. Hi, Angela. Hi, Pat. It is wonderful to have you. I do have a special guest today that I can't wait to share with you. Somebody I've met for the first time, like ever, and in person, if we call this in person. I mean, we're live. I can see her. She can see me. We're talking at the same time. It all counts. So yeah, it's going to be really great. Hi, Heather. Hi, Chris. Hi, Stitch and Trucker Vicky. It is great to have all of you here. Before we get in, I want to tell you about a brand new yarn that just launched today. If you don't get the emails, well, no, it didn't go out in email. It's going out in email tomorrow. If you didn't check the homepage today, if you didn't look on social media, you might not know we have a brand new yarn and I'm so excited about it. This is called our Samia yarn. It's a fingering weight yarn. It is, let me get this right, 80% Cupro, 20% mulberry silk. And this is going to be your new favorite yarn for the spring and summer in 10 gorgeous shades. Right now, you can also get it for buy 3, get 1 free. So you'll get 4 balls for the price of 1. I am loving it so much. I started the Forte Filet, I think that's the name of it, Forte Filet top, and I am loving the drape of this. It is perfect. This was actually first designed in Curio, and it became like a stiffer fabric, which is fine. It was still a great pattern, but I'm loving it in this silk and Cupro. I am so excited to finish this up for the summer. I didn't get very far, but I got pretty good. It's coming. It's coming. It'll be done by the time we get there. So I wanted to make sure I tell you that. Go check it out. And the big thing I really just want to say, like, I'm not like, I don't know, trying to whatever, but Dots Hook sold out super fast. The mystery bags that we just had sold out super fast, which, by the way, if you didn't get one, they're coming back in stock on Monday. It'll be the last time we're doing them, so make sure you know. And then our We Collaborate, I can't even show it to you because you guys sold it out before I could even tell you, and we had to get more. So those are coming too. We'll talk about that next week. So I would highly suggest if you want some Samia, you go and grab a couple balls, try it out, see what you like. Yes, we're going to have more coming in. Yes, we only had the first round, but I can't promise what is going to happen. So please don't be mad at me. I've told you the coupon that you get buy 3, get the 1 free. It's now in your hands. Happy shopping. Also, there is a 30% off overstock yarn, which you can find in the top left the top left of the website. Select yarns 30% off, so you can go ahead and shop those colors as well. Okay, let's get to our guest because I am so excited to have her today. We have our featured designer for the month of February, and that is Stephanie Erin. And if you don't know who she is, you're going to find out. Here she is. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, Katelyn. I'm so excited to be here today.
I am so excited to have you. Okay, so I'm going to fangirl moment here. I have been following Stephanie for a very long time. Like, she has no idea that I've been following her. She has no idea that I've been like gushing over all of her patterns, but I have been. And now I get this opportunity to be like, hey, guess what? I get to chat with her.
You're too sweet. I'm really, really excited to get to talk to you. I think you're super cool. And I like that we can kind of fangirl over each other a little bit. It's super fun.
Oh, and this is so fun. Like, this has got to be the best part of my job, is getting to talk with designers. Like, designers that have been my friends for a long time, designers that I've just admired. Like, this is the best. I can't even say anything else. I'm so, so lucky to be able to do this. So people are starting to say hi and chat with us. So hi, everybody. Angry Panda says, I love so many of Stephanie's designs.
Aww.
Yes. And if you aren't following her, please go follow her, especially on Instagram. There's some really great posts. You'll get to see everything that's coming out. We are also going to put a link in here that will have all of Stephanie's patterns that are from Crochet or WeCrochet yarn. So you can go ahead and grab those. Yeah, and happy shopping on those patterns because you're going to love them. So for those of you who don't know, I'm going to raise my hand here too. How did you get into crochet? Like what brought you over to the dark side into the wonderful world of crochet?
So I've always been creative. Like I've always had some sort of creative element that I've done on the side. I ran a nail art blog for a really long time and used to paint my nails for like 4 hours a day. I used to make mugs. I used to like design sneakers, like draw on sneakers and then wear them. So I've always had like some sort of artistic thing that I've enjoyed doing. And then about not 8 years ago now, I was looking for something new. I was working in a job that was like really not fulfilling. And I was just trying to find something to like learn and do something more. And my mom was a knitter. And I thought my mom was a really good knitter. And I was like, it seems really like, I don't want to like encroach on her space. And I was like, but I like the idea of yarn. So I was working at downtown Toronto at the time. So I literally like walked to Michael's on my lunch one day, bought a crochet hook and some yarn, and walked back to the office and hid in a conference room for the afternoon and taught myself how to crochet on YouTube.
I love that story. That is awesome.
Yeah, so I'm completely self-taught. So everything I've ever learned has all just been self-teaching on YouTube and other resources. And I'm very analytical and very like I like understanding the technical component. So when I first started crocheting, I actually started like studying the anatomy of crochet stitches. And I've now then taught classes on the anatomy of crochet and getting into like how stitches are shaped in different ways, which lends it to like how is fabric created and how do we get different fabrics from the like anatomy of how a stitch is created using crochet, so I get really, really nerdy, which is really fun and cool. Or at least I think it's cool. So yeah, that was about 8 years ago. And now here we are today. So time flies.
That is amazing. I too am definitely more that analytical side of things. I love figuring out how things work and like being able to, go from there and stuff. So that is awesome. And I too am like amazed sometimes how literally with a hook and some yarn, you can make fabric that makes these beautiful garments, beautiful accessories and things like that. And it's like, I did that with my own hands. Like,
it's so
how
cool. And
am
I think one of the things that like I really love about crochet and think that is it's so like unique compared to other yarn crafts is that like the breadth of different fabrics that you can create from the same stitches. Like
Yeah.
we're doing really at the end of the day, if you boil everything down, if you can single crochet, half double or double, you can create like an endless number of fabrics. And it's just so interesting to me to see how like you're doing a very small number. Like the amount of skills you have to do is pretty small. If you can master a few stitches, you can do anything.
Yeah, that's so true. And like the difference so like the garment you're wearing, which we can talk about them, but it's a tweed yarn. If you would do the same thing in a solid yarn, it's going to be completely different. And you're not even changing the stitches. You're not changing your gauge. You're not changing anything.
Yeah.
You're just going from a tweed to a solid and you get totally different looking pieces. And it's just so amazing how we get to do that with our hands. So
Fun.
So the big thing that I know you for, and I'm sure a lot of other people know you for, is you're crocheting with beads. And oh my gosh, I can't even. So to be honest, I started before I even was knitting and crocheting, I used to make jewelry. And so I've had a love affair with beads for forever. And I have so many beads. It's like not even funny. But so that's always drawn me to you is seeing what you do with the beads. I'll be very honest. I've never really put beads into my crochet. I don't know. It's this like block for me that between jewelry making to crochet, I know I can use the same things there, but I don't know. It's just always been a block. So can you talk to me like how you got started with adding the beads into your crochet and maybe a tip or two for people that haven't done it yet?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start with a couple tips because then I want to ease people's fears. Beading is not difficult. All you need to bead is, I have them on my desk because I am crazy. So you need a 1mm crochet hook. I like my clovers because they are very standard in size. So that is my favorite. But you need a 1mm crochet hook and some seed beads. And all you're going to do, and all of my patterns come with a video where you can very clearly see with what I'm doing with my hands. But when it gets to your beaded stitch, you're just going to take your hook out, put it down for a second, grab your hook, your 1 millimeter hook, and add a bead to it. And then literally all you're going to do is take the hook and slide the bead from here onto the loop. And then you're going to have both strands coming through, and then your bead is there, and then you just crochet as normal. So it takes
That's
a little bit
awesome.
of patience, but it's very easy.
Yeah. Well, and that's great to hear that too, because again, your projects, when you look at them, have a lot of beads to it.
Yeah.
And, my perception, although I knew there were two different ways to do it, but my perception was I have to preload
Oh,
all of these beads onto the yarn.
that
And
seems
like,
insane.
yeah, to me, that's like the biggest nightmare part is sitting there and stringing hundreds of beads to make this project and then making sure you've strung enough because
Yeah.
otherwise, once you get started, like I've done the spiral beading, like to make like a rope for like a bracelet or
Yep.
jewelry. Yeah, you miss one bead and
And
your
your whole
whole
thing's
project
ruined.
is thrown off.
Yeah. No, I know people like have some people prefer that method, and that's totally fine. I'm all about as easy and like as low skill that we can do while still being beautiful and making it kind of fun. So I like to put them on one at a time. I also think it lends itself to be more creative with your beading because you don't have to
Mhm.
decide up front if you want to change to a different bead color or do
Right.
something different. Like I've seen people, I have one pattern called Hailstorm, which is basically like kind of randomized beads throughout the yoke. And someone did it in a rainbow. And I was like,
Ooh,
that's so cool. Like it's so unique and it's just a totally different take on what I had envisioned in the pattern.
yeah.
So I think it allows you to be a lot more flexible in your creativity by just putting it on one at a time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So how did you get into beads? Like,
So
did you have a
I
passion for beads before?
Not really. So I was inspired to use beads by I had a design in my head that I couldn't let go. And I was less than a year into designing in general. And I really wanted to design a garment that mimicked like I think it's called the epaulets that like knights would wear. And so you have
Yes.
like the shoulder. So that was my like initial, like I could not get out of my head that I just wanted beads on my shoulders and on my arms.
Mhm.
So I got the yarn, bought what I thought was enough beads. We changed our mind later on what we knew was enough. I thought was enough beads, and then I figured out how to put them on because I was like, I just knew I had to do it.
Yeah.
So I designed on Draw Stay, which is my first beaded garment, and I had so much fun putting that together. And that one is like it's a raglan where you've got beads on the shoulders inside the raglan lines, and then it
Mhm.
ends up coming to a point on your arm, like around here.
Yes.
So that was my first one, and I just loved it so much. And I got such a great response from the community that they were also enjoying beading. And then I just really like beads. So I just keep getting ideas to add things. My bead stash is like a little out of control. It's fine. We don't need to talk about it. But that means there's lots more beaded projects coming.
Yeah. I totally understand the bead stash out of control and the yarn stash out of control. I mean, I
Oh,
at
just
least have an
all.
excuse for working with a yarn company, right? I think kind of. But no, I love that so much. And I think like the cool thing too about your patterns is the way that they're designed. Yes, they have beads in them sometimes, but you don't have to do the beads.
No,
Like if you
absolutely not.
just like the look of the garment, you could take the beads out. You don't have to
Yeah,
do that part of it. You could do some, you could change the colors. I love that idea of like the rainbow feel to it
super
instead
cool.
of like a solid color or like a totally random. There's so many things that you can do and explore with the beads. And I love it. I think it just really adds that next level because, sometimes there's, I don't know, maybe I'm overstepping, but I feel like there's different categories of crochet. Like you've
Mhm.
got the very like at home for yourself. You've got your garments that you want to show off to people. And then you've got like the date night crochet that's like real fancy and, has got all like the lace to it and all this stuff. And I really feel like adding the beads takes it to that next level. Not that you can't wear it casually, but
Absolutely
it's definitely something you can take over into something more formal and
not.
kind of keep bringing your craft over with you. So I love
The
it so much.
interesting thing that I think about beads as well is in my mind, I've also been thinking about beads as like most people understand what color work is, right? So instead of
Mhm.
using two yarns, I'm just using beads as my color work. And that's kind of how I think about it when I'm thinking about designs, because
Yeah.
I'm working on one or like conceptualizing one right now where I want it to be very like illusion-esque, but I want like
Ooh.
the bead and the yarn to be a very similar color. So when you like turn in the light, they're like, is that beaded? What? And so that's kind of something I'm working on. I don't know how it's going to translate to photograph. We'll figure that out later. I might have to
Oh,
video
yeah.
the entire thing in the sun.
Just
It's
video.
fine.
You don't
All
photograph it. Just
videos.
Video. Just spin around in a circle.
Yeah, so that's kind of like how my brain has been thinking about beads, is that it's just like it's a different form of color work. You're just using a different medium than two yarns.
Right. That's awesome. I never thought of it that way, but that's
Yeah,
so true. I mean, it's exactly what you could do because even like the pattern behind you or the garment behind
yes,
you, I mean, you could do instead of the color, you could just do a triangle with beads in it, and that'll give you that different
totally.
texture look to it.
And my beaded diamond sweater is actually kind of like a take on Tess. So it's different. I didn't want to fill them in because that would be very heavy with the number
Right.
of beads with that type of color work, but it is almost like then a web over top
Yeah.
of you in beads.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just beautiful. I love it so much. So do you find yourself, so like again, we're gonna go back to the garment. Let's just talk about what you're wearing first so I don't keep
Yeah.
saying it and we're not talking about it. So
Great.
what are you wearing today?
So I am wearing a new design. It's going to come out over the next couple of days. It's the Static Sweater DK. So Static Sweater is one of my hits. Everyone's loved it. I made it in 2020, I think was the original one. And I did it with WeCrochet palette twist in asphalt. And that's why it's called static, because it had that staticky look to it. But I originally did it in fingering weight. And then over the years, I've done a bulky version. And now I've finally done a DK version. I love this pattern because it's very like sweatshirt style, but just fits you really well.
Yeah.
So that is what I like. And doing it in the tweed just makes it like a very different look than like the staticky twist yarn I used for fingering. And in bulky, I just did it in a plain yarn. So I think it's a nice way to have like a similar pattern, but like wearable in any season then.
Yeah, and we should say that that sweater is done in City Tweed, which is our yarn of the month. So you can go and grab the City Tweed that you're going to need at 20% off. So be sure to check out Stephanie's websites and her blog and her email list and everything. And then we're also going to have it available on crochet.com very soon. So we'll let you know too. And you can grab that yarn right now. It's on sale already, but you can get that for 20% off to go ahead and make that beautiful sweater. I love it so much. And again, like we've said, the tweed makes it look so much different than the palette with the twists and even the solid bulky. It's just so amazing.
And that was, I think, like my intent, because like I just enjoy how this sweater fits. So I really like, it's really easy to put on. And then I found myself just like wanting another one at a different weight. And then I was like, well, how do I make it like look different enough? And then we were chatting back and forth, and when we mentioned that like wanted to highlight tweed, I was like, oh my God, that's been in my head for so long. Like, let's just get it out of my head.
Yeah. That is so awesome. So, okay, we have to say too, this one does not have beads to it.
It doesn't have beads, no, but it's a really great, this is more, I would say, like if you're interested in making a garment or like a Stephanie Erin garment, because I have a pretty unique way of doing my short rows and my shaping on things. So if you're interested in doing like one of my garments for the first time, it'd be a really great opportunity because it's done in DK weight. So it's going to work up pretty fast because my first love will always be fingering. So I'm a fingering girl for pretty much always. But it's a good opportunity to like use a thicker yarn. It'll work up really quickly and you'll start to understand the shaping that I do without any of the added elements, but you still end up with a really cute sweater that you can wear and throw on all the time.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love the fingering. I mean, it's totally changing crochet and the world that we know as crochet. So it's been wonderful seeing more and more people do that. Do you find yourself though, as you're designing, that you have a style or not, I don't want to say a style. How do I want to say? So like that is a bulkier weight garment, right? Not bulky, but in comparison to some of your others, do you find that when you want to add your beads to things, you're definitely sticking with the fingering weight yarn and it doesn't work quite as well with the thicker gauges of yarn?
I think it can work. I find, so typically I end up using size 6.0 seed beads are really common. I think on fingering weight, the beads stand out a little bit more. In a thicker weight yarn, the bead is going to end up being compressed a little bit deeper into the fabric and you're not going to see it in the same way. It is subtle, and I have seen people do with even beading, even like in a worsted weight yarn. I prefer it in a fingering because I think you just get that pop of bead a little bit more. And if you're going to spend all that time beading, you may as well be able to see it.
Right, exactly. So give us an idea of, in a typical garment, about how many beads are you putting into things? Like what's your range of beads?
So I think that depends on the garment. So I think that if I'm just looking at some of the ones I have on crochet.com here. So like I have one called the beaded collar peplum, which is really just like around the collar. The idea is like you're wearing your necklace in your
Nice.
your garment. And that one probably is like a couple hundred beads, so probably about 500 to 600 beads. If you're getting into ones that are a bit more, you're probably looking at about like 2,000 beads occasionally. But beads are often sold by weight, so there is
Yes.
something to remember when you're like buying your beads. If you're going to use like a metal bead or a typically like a better quality bead, they're going to weigh a little bit more, which means you're going to have less per tube. But typically a tube has like 300 to 400 beads in it, so you only need a couple tubes in order to make it work.
That's so awesome. I love it so much. Not that I know I keep going back to this beads. I just think it's
I
so
love
unique and you don't see it out there very much. So I love it. I love what you've been doing with it. It's just
it.
been so I just it really does. It adds the jewelry to your piece so that
Yeah.
you don't have to do that. You can just wear your phenomenal garment that you're wearing.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I did want to remind everybody that if you're watching and you missed us in the beginning, Stephanie is here because she is our featured designer of the month. We did put a link in so you can see all of her patterns that we have on the crochet.com website, but Stephanie has a ton more. So you're going to want to check her out over on Instagram, on her website. And the beautiful pattern she's wearing is coming soon and it uses city tweed. So you're going to want to go and grab that yarn while you can, because it's on sale right now for 20% off. I think it's going to be out, like next week, the pattern should be out.
Yeah, I think if you're on my email list, you might get it like tomorrow around midnight. So
Oh,
you want to
sign
be
up.
if you're on my email list, you'll get it soon and always at a discount.
Awesome. So definitely go sign up because you want to know when it comes out, and then you can go ahead and grab your yarn. So what else do you have on the horizon? I mean, hopefully you're still working with us in the future, but
Oh,
what else do
absolutely.
you have going on?
Yeah, so I have a couple things on the go. I do have a design coming out in Morit Mag in their spring issue. So that I'm really excited about that one because that one's been under wraps for a really long time. But that is another beaded garment, but it is beaded on the entire thing. So it's beaded front, back, sleeves, whole 9 yards. So there's previews of that posted on Morit's account right now. So I'm excited for that one to come out. I am working on a couple different things for spring summer right now. My annual dress is in the works. So I have started that and I'm just making some final design decisions on that one. But lots of things coming up, which will be really exciting.
That is super exciting. We love seeing the annual dress. We love all the new patterns coming out. So we can't wait to see what else is coming and how we can continue to work with you. We love it so much. We hope everybody goes and follows you, signs up for the newsletter so they don't miss out. I'm so grateful that we were able to chat today.
Yeah, me
Um,
too.
yeah, so thank you so much. I do want to say thank you to everybody who's joining us live. Again, please, please, please go follow Stephanie Erin. You will not be disappointed. I know it's one of the places I love looking at and checking out. So you're going to love it too. Don't forget to grab your city tweeds so you can make the beautiful sweater that she is wearing, along with the overstock yarn sale that we have going on. So even if you don't want city tweed, you can go find another tweed yarn. That particular pattern is a DK. If you don't want to go with tweed, find another DK yarn that you love, or just stock up for whatever next pattern Stephanie comes out with. Grab your fingering weight yarn because that's where it's at, or check out one of her other patterns that we have, and then you can go ahead and make that as well. Don't forget too about the Samia yarn, which is beautiful. I know I'm going to be sending some to Stephanie, so we might have some projects coming that way. But make sure you check that out and grab the coupon code on the main website or the main page, which is a buy 3, get 1 free. So you can grab it and try it out for yourself. So thanks so much, Stephanie. It was wonderful to have you. I appreciate it. Yeah. And we will be back again next week. So we'll see you next Wednesday. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye.